Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers. Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Your body is brilliant. Nature's Bounty has a bounty of solutions to help you thrive, supporting your systems from your head to your heels. Nature's Bounty High Absorption Magnesium Glycinate supports heart, bone, nerve, and muscle health, while just one hair growth capsule a day helps grow thicker, fuller hair. Delicious new Nature's Bounty Probiotic Gummies contain prebiotics and postbiotics, supporting gut health, regularity, and immune health. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature. Learn more at naturesbounty.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Whispering Woods Reddit and listener story episode. I've got 3 spooky stories to share today. I'll get straight into them. Are you ready? For the first story. I think I've seen a shadow thing, stroke person, twice in my life, but I'm not entirely sure on what I saw. And I'm still skeptical on the paranormal. So I'm a pretty big skeptic on all things paranormal. I don't really believe in the supernatural, especially with all the countless fake videos. Nuke's top 5 definitely comes to mind. But I will admit, twice in my life, I have encountered something that I genuinely can't explain away. So the first story, I was around 5, I'd say. I was either 4 or 5, or at most 6. I used to live in an apartment, and one night I was taking a bath by myself upstairs, while my mother and sister were downstairs. After I finished my bath, I got out of the tub and put my towel on, and as I was standing in the bedroom, I was looking out in the hallway. And inside of the hallway, I could clearly and visibly see a shadow moving from the bathroom into my sister's room, where it seemingly walked up to my sister's door and disappeared. The strange thing is what it looked like, because it was what I used to call the finger man. It looked like when you take your hand and pretend to make a walking motion with your pointer or middle finger pointed down. I was so scared and confused by what I saw that I remember running down the stairs and asking my mum and sister if they were just upstairs, which they weren't, and they laughed at me after describing what I saw. Later in life, when I was in my house years after we moved from the apartment, I was getting ready for school one day, and as I was in my room, I remember I could very clearly see a very long shadow arm reaching in from the hallway and knocking down one of my hats I had hanging on the wall. I know I wasn't dreaming or imagining things, because I very clearly saw my hat laying on the floor. I then went down the hall to my parents' bedroom, where the door was shut. And after I knocked and my mum opened it, I asked her if she was in the hall and knocked over my hat. And she was confused and said no, and I just went back to my room confused and a little scared. The weird thing is, years later, around 8 months ago, my mother and grandmother were visiting me in North Carolina, since I'm in the Marines and was doing infantry training while I was on a 96 4-day weekend. And the topic of ghosts came up since we were watching those shows, and I brought up that story again. And my mother mentioned that in the original apartment we lived in, my sister supposedly also had encounters in her room and was just creeped out. And my grandmother added that when she stayed the night there, she stayed in my sister's room and felt the same feeling. And I can't exactly remember everything she was saying, but I think she may have mentioned hearing a growl and getting scratched too. But again, it's been 8 months. I don't remember everything they mentioned. But they did in fact claim weird things to happen in my sister's room, which is the same room the shadow figure I saw stopped at and disappeared. I still didn't know exactly what I encountered. I haven't seen anything after that, and am still skeptical to the paranormal. I even went to the Saratoga Sanitarium, which is supposedly one of the most haunted places in Saratoga, New York, and nothing happened there. And I've been to supposedly haunted places before, and had nothing happen. I think the description of the shadow being with the, the hand puppet, the hand shadow type thing, is really quite scary. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because you imagine somebody making that in the light, causing that shadow, or if there's a being that looks like that. I don't know what's scarier, to be perfectly honest. I just don't know what to say or what to think of that. Are you ready for the second story? When I was 17 years old, I saw a ghost, as clear as day in broad daylight. I'm 25 years old now, and I still often think about this experience. I'll try to be as detailed as possible, but it has been 8 years, and it's hard for me to remember the very fine details of the day. But that being said, I do still remember quite a bit, because, well, it was one of the strangest experiences of my life. Let me also just say, this story is true. Honest to goodness, swear on my mother's grave. Let me start off by saying that this happened at my friend's house. Her name is Mariah. I grew up with her. She lived 2 blocks away, and we have been lifelong friends. She's like a sister to me. Mariah has 4 siblings. My siblings moved out when I was just 13, so I was kind of an only child. As a result, I was over at their house almost every day hanging out, whether it was with Mariah, her younger brother Braden, or some of her other siblings. One day, Mariah and I went to McDonald's to get mango pineapple smoothies, a frequent pilgrimage that we made. We sat and talked in the car for a bit, and she told me that some weird things were happening at her house. She talked about how she woke up with bruises and scratches on her, and how a few nights prior, while falling asleep, she heard somebody say, "We're here, Mariah." Now, with Mariah being my best friend, I didn't exactly think she was lying, but I thought there was some logical explanation to the things she was experiencing. Or maybe it was just all in her head, i.e. sleep paralysis, etc. But after her telling me this, things only got stranger from there. A few weeks later, her youngest brother, Dallin, was walking home from school. He was the first one home on weekdays, and he saw somebody peek through the curtains and stare out the window as he was walking up to the house. He was so scared he ran to the neighbour's house and didn't return until somebody else got home. Again, logical explanations, right? Well, a few months go by with nothing, and one day I'm sitting upstairs with the family watching a movie. Mariah's parents weren't home, so it was just us kids. Mariah's younger sister came up from the basement crying. Mind you, she was like 14 years old. She wasn't like a little kid, but she was terrified, and she was literally breaking down because of how afraid she was. I just saw somebody walk into the basement, and I don't know who it was, she said. I think we all thought maybe there was an intruder, or maybe somebody else in the house. We got up to investigate. I grabbed a golf club and made my way downstairs, but nobody was there. They had no exit in their basement, so there was no way anyone could have gotten in or out, unless they climbed out of a window, but all the windows were closed and all the screens were still intact. And even then, they were small windows that were high up, and anybody would have had a hard time climbing out of there. But again, I thought, logical explanations. Maybe Mariah's younger sister thought she saw somebody walking down the hallway of the basement, and maybe her mind is playing tricks on her. I thought there was a logical explanation. That is, until something happened to me. A few months had gone by with nothing again, and I was hanging out at Mariah's house, like always. Mariah was in her room with her new boyfriend, so I was outside with Braden, and we were tossing a football back and forth. There were 4 of us at the house. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people. 4. After being outside for a bit, I went inside to use the bathroom. When I went upstairs, Braden started throwing the football against Mariah's bedroom window. "Cut it out," she said. "You're going to break the window." I went into the bathroom to pee, but I could kind of hear that the 2 of them were having a typical annoying brother and annoying sister kind of argument. I got out of the bathroom and saw Mariah furiously storm down the upstairs hallway and make a turn for the front door. I started to go after her, but something inside me told me to turn around. I turned around, and Mariah's bedroom door was still closed. I opened the door, and Mariah and her boyfriend were still in there. I looked outside the window, and Braden was still outside. "Did you just come out?" I asked Braden. "No, I've been here the whole time." "Then who just walked down the hallway?" We searched the whole house, called to see if anyone else was home. Nobody. It was just the 4 of us. I literally just saw somebody walk down the hallway, turn the corner, and vanish. I've often thought to myself, and I didn't get a very good look at the person after all. I thought it was Mariah, so maybe my mind was just playing tricks on me too. But one thing I cannot deny is hearing the footsteps of whoever or whatever walked down the hallway. They weren't wearing shoes, just bare feet slapping against the hardwood floor of the hallway. Clear as day, and when I honestly think about it, I saw the person as clear as day too. I didn't see their face or anything, but I saw somebody walk down the hallway and turn the corner, as clear as I would see anybody else do it. I've also thought about the fact that this was just a normal day. It's one thing to be telling ghost stories, and then to see something out of the corner of your eye, or to hear the house settling, and think that it's a ghost or something. It's one thing to have carbon monoxide poisoning or sleep paralysis, but it's another thing to just be going about your business at 2 p.m. on a regular Saturday afternoon and seeing some sort of thing completely unexplainable. But anyway, I think about this experience often, and I still can't explain it. I know I saw something. I know I saw a person. I just can't explain where they came from, or where they went, or why they were in my friend's house. And that's a little scary. Yes, that is a little scary. A lot of stuff going on. It sounds like it was Mariah's kind of doppelganger. That's what I took from it. I do also wonder if they were having an argument, or whether that was something that was just heard, but it wasn't them, if I'm making sense. I know I'm mumbling a bit here. But yeah, crazy story. Are you ready for the third story? Something lives with me in Budapest. I'm a world traveller. I've been all over in the past 2 years and stayed in all sorts of places, from old colonial homes to fancy new high-rises. I've been in Budapest for a week or so, and I'm living in an old building that has to be at least 200 years old. In order to access my unit, you have to take the main elevator to the 3rd floor, and then walk up a derelict staircase to make it to the 5th floor. As soon as you walk up the stairs, you'll trigger a motion sensor that lights up the seldomly used floor I'm on. I felt this strange presence on this floor. I hear footsteps in the halls when there is clearly nobody else living here besides me and a friend that's staying in the same unit. I hear my name being called by my friend, who at the time was out of the house. Another thing is when I enter the bathroom, it almost seems and feels like someone is closing the door behind me, as the door doesn't close on its own unless I walk through it. The other night, around 3 a.m, I had trouble sleeping, and I went on to what used to be a communal balcony, but is now used solely by myself for a cigarette. And I heard someone frantically running up the stairs, footsteps heavy enough to indicate a man of some stature. The motion sensor triggered and the hallway lit up. I'm being extra cautious at this point, and I'm now basically smoking in the hallway. Nobody came up those stairs. I sat back down on the balcony and heard the same thing again. Now, on my second cigarette, being the chain smoker I am, I go back in the hallway, and again, the footsteps stop. Thinking I'm losing my mind, I go into my unit and firmly close the door behind me until I hear the lock click in place. I go about my business and sit at my desk with my back turned towards the door. The door can only be unlocked with a code. If someone enters this code, the mechanism creates a beeping sound. After about 15 minutes on my laptop, I get up to go to bed, and the door behind me that was locked was wide open, and the censored lights in the halls are all lit up. I close the door and turn on the flashlight on my phone to investigate my unit. Make sure nobody else is in there with me while my back was turned. There was nobody, and no noise indicating anyone had come to the door to open it or had gone inside. I go to bed, and I'm awakened by a smash in the halls a few hours later, around 5:30 a.m. The door is wide open again. Nothing was stolen, and there's plenty to steal. And my friend never woke up once during this entire time. I get this uneasy feeling in the halls, and the derelict staircase leads 6 stories down into only what I can call an abyss, a total dark and damp basement that has been in disuse for 100 or so years. I'm the only one who smokes, but sometimes it smells like cigarettes straight around the balcony I spend my time smoking on. What is this, and what does it want from me? I'll post photos of the staircase when I'm back home. I can't wait to leave here. And that is really creepy. Really creepy. Especially because if you're travelling, I guess you've got to stay there until you move on to the next place because you're paid up But how creepy. It sounds a bit like another sort of doppelganger energy type thing going on there. If the friend's calling their name and they're not around. I've had it before when I've smelt cigarettes and nobody's been smoking, and that was in our old house actually before we moved where we are now. And the guy who lived there previously had actually died in the house, and he was like a really heavy smoker. It's so strange that like you could just smell it wafting up through the windows. And even before I knew he smoked, I was like, there's something ghostly about this smoke. I just knew for some reason that it wasn't quite right. And the basement sounds terrifying. I would be inclined to go and take a look though. just to have a look, because you've got to creep yourself out sometimes, haven't you? Well, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed, and we will catch you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.